Welcome with me, Mr. Will Dalen Rice.
So I'm here tonight to talk about something that all of you take part in every day, but maybe don't know it or know what happens. Something we call wastewater. You might call it sewage. And I want to point out, first of all, that you probably don't know how we deal with it. It's not what you think. We don't dump a bunch of chemicals and use a bunch of coffee filters. And the reason this is important is because nothing has done more for our clean lakes and streams than industrial modern wastewater treatment. This is important because your children, my children in the future, love to play in streams, and if it wasn't for industrial wastewater treatment, those streams would be dirty. All that we have done is taken what happens in nature naturally and magnified it and made it more powerful. Here's a picture of some wastewater, actually. In the lower part of that picture, you see a lot of biological organisms that are used to clean that water. We should start out by defining what do I mean when I say wastewater. You might call it sewage, we call it wastewater. It is mostly water. You might think of the toilet. It mostly comes from showers, sinks, the dishwasher, and washing machines. It is more than 95% water. It is slightly dirty water. Here's some pictures of what you might think of when you think of wastewater. This is not wastewater. That's an industrial accident at the top there. Lower picture there, that's a porta potty gone tragically wrong. And then there's some commercial pollutant there as well. This is not what flows through our sewer system. This is a jar of wastewater. That's my hand. This is slightly dirty water. It has the appearance of a lot of the flavors of Gatorade you might drink on a daily basis. It is mostly water. I've said that 7 times by now. It is mostly water. Here's a complex diagram telling you how we deal with this water. But for the most part, it's pretty simple. We separate out the things you can see, and we clean the things that you can't see out of the water using biology, using microorganisms. I'll talk about that in a few moments. Step 1, screening. Basically, we pour the water through a giant sieve. We remove cotton, latex, things that aren't biodegradable that end up in your toilet and go down the drain somehow. Do not put things that aren't biodegradable in your toilet or in your drains. Cotton, latex. This is where all that stuff goes, and it is super gross. That's the most foul dumpster you could ever possibly experience. In case this is confusing, I have a simple rhyme. Guys, no latex. Ladies, no playtex. Don't put that in your toilet. Put that in the garbage can. It's super gross. Babies, you're not off the hook. You need to stop putting your wipes in the toilet because those are not biodegradable. They go into our wastewater systems, our sewer systems, and they make big clogs. There's a 15-ton clog that was in England somewhere. Super awful stuff. This had grease involvement. Grease is also an important example of something that should not go into your drain. Much like grease in your arteries is bad, grease in wastewater systems is bad. It causes clogs. Here's wastewater flowing out of a manhole into a stream. Very, very bad if your kids are playing there. Do not put grease down your drain, please. Back to the process. Step 2, grit removal. It's not like panning for gold. We remove all the sand from the bottom. Clean water comes off the top. Sand and other inorganic substances that can't be cleaned out from the water. Step 3, settling. The heavier stuff goes to the bottom. Lighter stuff comes to the top. It's mostly just water. Using these big giant pools, it comes in the middle. It eventually floats out and goes over the edges of the circle. It's basically a non-moving area so that the solid stuff can settle. Step 4 is where all the biology happens. We take those microorganisms and we try to promote whatever we can to get them to feed on the contaminants. So basically we just got to add air. There's plenty of food already for them. What you consider to be waste, they consider to be food, makes them very happy. These are the real workers of the process. This is biology. This is a naturally occurring thing. Again, we just try to give them as much air as possible so they'll eat as much as possible and they'll be super happy and they'll make the water clean. The bugs are really the big workhorses of modern wastewater treatment. Step 5 is filtration. This is what industrial scale filtration looks like. It's a bunch of big, thick beds of sand. The water flows through the sand, and as long as the particles are bigger than the space between the sand grains, it filters out the contaminants. Second to last step, disinfection. They say that sunlight is the best disinfectant. Well, actually, that's not true because you can take the sunlight, you can mimic it, you can concentrate it, and you get UV disinfection. You can actually buy a handheld version of this UV disinfection at a backpacking store and disinfect your own water. Then the last step is oxygenation. This is actually a waterfall in Chicago right before the water's put back into Lake Michigan, and it's just a way to put oxygen back in the water because the natural environment prefers oxygenated water. Sort of to recap, jar on the one end is dirty wastewater. The jar in the middle is the wastewater that comes out of the treatment plant. It's super clean. The jar on the other end is the stream. And unfortunately, the water that we clean is cleaner than the water that's in the stream that we add our water to. And then lastly, a reminder, if it's not biodegradable, don't put it on your drain. That includes grease. This is an awful, awful 17-ton mass of baby wipes and grease that shouldn't be in the sewer system. Thank you for your time.